You know that classic job interview question, what's your biggest weakness? So many of us say, oh, I'm a perfectionist, right? We wear it like this weird badge of honor, like it's a secret superpower. Well, today we're going to tear that idea apart. Because the truth is, perfectionism isn't a strength. It's a trap. And we're going to figure out what's really going on behind it. So just picture this for a second. You did it. You finally finished that massive project, the one you've been pouring your heart and soul into for months. Or maybe you got that big promotion you were gunning for. You know, the one that's supposed to make all that hard work feel worth it. And everyone around you is thrilled. They're patting you on the back, they're clapping, they're saying, wow, you're amazing, how do you do it all? All that external praise is rolling in. But inside your own head, it's just quiet. There's no party, no celebration. Instead, there's just this hollow, empty feeling. Because you're not thinking about the 99% you nailed. Nope, you're obsessed with that one tiny microscopic flaw, thinking, it could have been better. And that feeling, right there, leads us to the absolute core of this whole thing. Perfectionism isn't actually about having high standards or wanting to do a good job. It's a psychological shield. It's a deep, unconscious reaction to protect yourself. It's what some psychologists actually call a trauma response. So how in the world does this armor get built? Well, that brings us to our first section, the armor of shame. Let's really get into the real reason you're chasing this impossible goal of being flawless. I mean, really, why this obsession? Why do we feel this constant, crushing need to present a perfect, shiny version of ourselves to the world? Well, here's the definition we need to burn into our brains. We think perfectionism is about chasing success, but it's not. It has absolutely nothing to do with achievement. It is purely 100% a defense mechanism against the crippling fear of shame, of criticism, of judgment. You know, the researcher Brené Brown, she has this incredible metaphor for it. She calls perfectionism a 20-ton shield. I mean, can you imagine lugging that around with you every single day? Your brain is convinced that if you can just be perfect, if you can just hold up that shield, you'll never have to feel that sting of rejection. So let's just break down this great deception. What you think it is this noble quest, right? I'm chasing excellence, I have high standards, I'm ambitious, but what it really is under the surface is you running for your life from humiliation. It's a deep fear of judgment. It's a shield. That hour you spend agonizing over one email, that's not you trying to be brilliant, that's you terrified someone will find a typo and think you're an imposter. Okay, so, a 20-ton shield. Where did we even get this thing? It's not like we're born with it, right? Well, here's the hard truth. You weren't born a perfectionist. You were trained to be one. For a lot of us, if you think back to childhood, love and attention weren't always unconditional. They were transactional. You got the big praise for the A on the report card. But a B? That came with a subtle, or not so subtle, feeling of disappointment. You learned very early on that affection was the reward for achievement. And over time, this creates this absolutely devastating equation that gets wired into your brain. My productivity equals my human worth. You learned that the real you, the messy you, the tired you, the perfectly average you, was somehow not quite lovable. And so you built a perfect avatar to show the world instead. But, and here's the crazy irony in all this, all that effort to be perfect has a completely opposite effect. It leads us right into what I call the paralysis trap, where this obsessive pursuit of perfect actually leads to doing nothing at all. Yeah, let's just bust a huge myth right now. We think perfectionists are these super productive, high-achieving machines. The opposite is true. Most perfectionists are actually chronic procrastinators. They have a whole graveyard of brilliant ideas they never started and amazing projects they never finished. And why is that? It's because the perfectionist brain gets stuck on this toxic, all-or-nothing binary switch. Step 1. Whatever I'm about to do, it has to be 100% absolutely flawless. Step 2. If there is even a tiny chance it won't be flawless, then don't even start, just abort the mission. And so procrastination itself becomes just another layer of that shield. It's a form of self-protection. See, if you never finish the book, no one can give it a bad review. If you never launch the business, it can't fail. The very thing you think is about high standards is actually the one thing keeping you completely stuck. Okay, I know that was all pretty heavy, but the good news, the really good news, is that there is a way out. And that brings us to our final section, the freedom of done. We're going to walk through 3 clear, actionable steps to finally drop the shield and escape this trap. So how do you actually do it? How do you put down that 20-ton shield and start, living? Well, it requires doing the one thing that absolutely terrifies a perfectionist: being average on purpose. All right, here we go. 3 practical steps. First, you have to embrace what I like to call the C- effort. Just for your next low-stakes task, deliberately aim for good enough. Send that email when it's about 70% ready. You are going to be shocked to find that your 70% is what most people consider 100. Second, you have to completely redefine what failure means. The real failure isn't making a mistake. The real failure is being so terrified of making a mistake that you refuse to even play the game. And third, and this one is the big one, you must disconnect your worth from your work. Say it with me. You are a human being, not a human doing. This is the idea you have to internalize. Your worth as a person is fixed. It's a baseline. It doesn't shoot up when you get a promotion, and it doesn't plummet when you make a mistake. You are inherently worthy. Period. End of story. So what's the big takeaway here? It's a simple but life-changing shift in how you see the world. Perfection is just a beautiful, glittering cage designed to keep you safe and paralyzed. But all the good stuff, the progress, the growth, the joy, that only happens when you unlock that cage door with a new mantra: done is always better than perfect.